I took 2 days off stream. I'm a little bit upset. I'm not really upset. I'm a little upset. I took 2 days off stream to prepare for this Rollo Tomassi debate. I read so much shit. I wish I actually would have done this 6 months ago for this red pill shit. I read so much shit. I threw together a good outline. I outlined good questions. I had my topics all cut up, and then Rollo was so passive. Rollo ended up being so passive on everything. The Michael dude ended up arguing with me 80% of the time. It was like a real life Mott and Bailey, because the Michael guy seems a lot more reasonable than Rollo. And something that's interesting or upsetting. Why didn't you do a research stream? Because I can't. I don't know if I can actually. I don't know if I can research now right now with you in the background. It actually drives me insane that people asking the most random or stupid questions on every thing that is I don't know if my brain can handle. Yeah, it's just stupid. I don't think people realized, or maybe they did, I'm not sure. This dual mating hypothesis, this alpha fucks beta bucks thing, is the center point to all of Rollo's ideology, and it completely fell apart. These guys didn't defend a single point, but I don't even know if it came across that way because everything was so cordial. But I don't know. The kick chat on the screen doesn't have a drop shadow. Oh, well. Your intro rules. Oh yeah, well, because since I'd done so much research on this, I wanted to be a very data-driven discussion. So I thought if I set out, I'm really glad that I set these ground rules down actually, because it let me refer back to them a couple times because notice how once they realized they didn't have the data on their side, even the Michael guy started. Maybe I was too friendly. No, I wasn't too friendly. I was the appropriate level friendly. Even the Michael guy started saying listen, I know it's anecdotal, but I know so many girls in Vegas. I know so many girls on Instagram. I know so many guys that have this problem. Notice how as soon as they realized they didn't have the data on their side, Michael kind of retreating back to those types of arguments. But then I could refer back to the initial rules, and I was like, hey, well, remember for the initial rule set, we all said that we weren't going to appeal to anecdote, right? We were just going to appeal to studies. We were going to, yeah. The best part was when they were like, oh, yeah, we all agree. Yeah, but I had to keep saying, because they kept trying to do that. Well, I think we mostly agree. Myron kept saying that. I was like, no, hold on. We don't agree. We don't agree on this. We don't agree on this. We don't agree on this. Just to be clear, Michael Sartain doesn't believe in dual mating, right? He cannot believe in dual mating if he doesn't want to. But remember, all of Rollo Tomassi's ideology revolves around this alpha fucks beta bucks thing. He says it all the time, and it's the underpinning to his entire analysis of how women procreate, right? He still successfully appealed to those anecdotes in the eyes of his audience. He did it many times beyond what you call it. Yeah, but I can't call it out every single time. I can't, or else I start to look balancing my reputation with these shows is very, 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 very difficult. I don't think you guys realize I'm literally coming in as a blue-haired, and I'm supposed to be trying to argue against the classic red pillars. I'm fighting from behind so much. The reputation and rhetorical management has to be something I'm constantly keeping in mind on my side. Which I think I did a successful job at, but it comes obviously at the cost of hardcore nuking their reputations. I can't be screeching and. Have you ever passed your debate prep through anyone else, when you do manifestos? I talked to the Alex Dating guy on Twitter. I should have shouted him out actually. I talked to Erudite a bit. I think I passed it through Farah. I think I talked with Mel with some of the points. Let me bounce a little bit, but most of this is actually just. I just had to go and read some of the stuff that gets cited, especially about the dual mating stuff, and then look up actual data and studies, and I find that most of what they're saying is kind of bullshit. But yeah. Did you expect the Rollo in-person conversation to go as amicably as it did? Yeah, I did, unfortunately. I talked about it a bit with August. I even talked about it with Mel, because a couple people were saying oh, do you think he's going to bring up the Lauren stuff, or do you think he's going to bring up do you think he's going to bring up the there's one other the cuck stuff, because he likes to tweet. He apparently he fucking hates Lauren after they had a debate a year ago, and so he's been tweeting about that. He tweets about the cuck stuff, and he was even doing it 5 hours I think before the debate. But my idea was that my idea was that because he looked so emotional last time, my feeling was going to be that he was going to be very, 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 very passive this time. Because I think that after his last debate, when he was so emotional, he wants to come off as like chill and centered and everything is possible. He wanted to not lose that edge. So I figured he would come in being very chill. I didn't know it would be quite this chill, but yeah, I figured it would be a very, very, very toned down conversation. My understanding of alpha fucks beta bucks was that when hooking up, girls will prioritize looks and physical attractiveness, but when it comes to relationships, they will prioritize well and stability. Do you disagree with that? Basically, yes. I don't think that's true. There's no data whatsoever to support that. But the alpha fucks beta bucks goes more into that and says that when girls are on the fertile part of their cycle, that they'll look for attractive guys, but on the rest of their cycle, they'll look for financially stable guys. That's like the theory, basically. But nobody in Evo's psych believes this anymore. It was a theory for a couple decades. And then but there's no data whatsoever to support any of that. So it was at least nice when the dude defended you from the dono, tried to dismiss you for being gay. Oh, yeah, sure. Here's a secret. If you want to know if someone is going to just pivot away from data-driven argument, ask for sources ahead of a debate to review. Not one of these fucks will have anything. Well, I gave them a list of topics to talk about coming into this, actually, because I did want them to be somewhat prepared on it. Because I believe Myron asked me, you make the argument that women would evolutionarily be incentivized to sleep with men that don't sleep with multiple women because of resources. Is that true if we shared resources in tribes? Yes. Again, like I said, it's all all of this is super data driven. Yeah. What was the reception from the Red Pill community based on your performance? My reception was really, 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 really good on both podcasts. I think on the Whatever show and on the Fresh and Fit show, I think my reception is about as positive as ever could have been. I get a lot of emails, a lot of DMs. The comments are overwhelmingly positive, but it's insane they all still let you on their shows is the only pushback to their entire community. Why do you think they keep inviting you? Well, personally, it's because I'm a friendly, funny guy, I think, because they can have good shows with me. I think that helps a lot. I think that's actually probably one of the most important parts. But the second part is I do help these guys do really good viewership. Something that I've noticed more and more as I go around on the internet, I think a lot of people view bot almost everything. I think people bought their Instagrams. I think people bought their Twitters. I think people bought a lot of their viewership. I'm starting to feel that more and more. But when I go on these shows, a lot of them do the highest viewership. I think they had the most live viewership they had in the history of their podcast when I was on for their live show. I don't know what their VOD did. And then Fresh and Fit's live shows, I think the highest the Rollo Destiny debate got was 30,000 plus viewers. But obviously they started to taper off when people realized there weren't going to be fireworks. Did the data-driven argument feel more productive than the spontaneous ones? Yeah, a little bit. I actually really enjoyed this. I enjoyed this conversation. Even though I kind of crammed hard for this in a day and a half, doing prepared research for a debate to jump in and do it is something I miss doing. It's fun. I think Sneeko helped you as it gave you credit. Do you agree? I think the Sneeko one was similar to the Whatever one, where I had to find a way to distance myself because me and Sneeko will agree on some things, but obviously on most of the shit he was saying, I didn't agree. So it kind of turned into a 3v1 at points, or I had to back off and let them deal with him basically, or try to provide a good summary at the end of what he was saying. I think at one point I was Sneeko's just saying that marriage is the foundation of society and you should be geared towards family building. But yeah, I had to be super careful not to hitch my wagon to that either. Who do you think is the most effective red pill debate opponent, Myron or Michael Sartain? The Michael guy, I don't want to compliment him. The Michael guy seems cool, and he seems like a decent guy, and it seems like he has a decent perspective on dating and women. But I don't know that, because every time these guys are around me, they become the most mild-mannered people in the world, right? So, like, I don't want to say that and somebody links me to something later where Mark's like, this is why women are fucking sluts and why they're going to try to fuck you in divorce and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but he seemed, here's the big deal, okay? He seemed like a guy that actually liked women, okay? And in most of these red pill spaces, it feels like they fucking hate women, okay? All of these guys seem like they fucking hate women. That's what it feels like. But the Michael guy seemed like he didn't feel that way, so... Yeah, so if that's the case, he doesn't hate women, he already gets, like, mad props from me. Oh, but also, I will say this too also, big props to Myron for being able to set up that kind of conversation on his podcast and be chill and do like a decent job moderating. I'm pretty sure Myron disagrees like 95% of the shit that I was saying, because a lot of what I was challenging Rollo on challenges Myron too. But for the most part, he like kept it moving, kept it chill. Like Myron did a really, really, really good job at setting that conversation up, having a platform to have that conversation, and then being like a relatively neutral moderator during all of it. So congrats to him. Jesus, I would never have expected that Myron would be the guy that we're looking to for debates. Yeah. Oh, damn. And I think the most, you called Fresh and Fit clowns to their face. Yeah, I did. Fuck. That's just like a funny word for me. I think it might be more serious to them, though. I probably shouldn't have said that. But I think they knew I was joking. But I forgot, like, clownish is like a funny word for me. But I think in their vernacular, I think it's more serious. But I don't know. I thought it was fine. What was I going to say? Oh, the one thing that was... Oh, Rollo barely said anything. He was so mad. Yeah, fuck. Apparently he's liking cuck tweets about me again, so I don't feel as bad. But I'm going to be honest. If they would have been any more aggressive, Rollo's strategy for being very, very, very passive and very submissive to me was a very good idea, because I would have roasted him so hard. There were times in that show where I saw him. He was like in his phone. He was scrolling like a that shit. And we both sent each other a big list of topics beforehand for what we were going to debate. So it's not like they got caught off guard. Is there a list of topics you want to debate? And I said, a lot of these will focus on the dual mating hypothesis and hypergamy. And tell him to bring a real definition of alpha male hypergamy and maybe high value male if he wants. Because those were the things that I wanted to focus on. And then they gave me a list of like 20 topics. And I was like, okay. But yeah, watching him like scroll through his phone, I thought really funny, yeah. Because he brought like a book and everything. Like, it looked like these guys were ready to go hard, but then, yeah. The other guy seemed way too agreeable. Do you think that was a strategy? Here's the thing. People on my side might look at it as a big loss if I don't completely own them. But I said this on the show. If they all want to say we all agree, that's fine. But I'm going to go back to my podcast saying the exact same stuff I did here. I don't know if that's the case for them. If they agree with me, I think it makes me look strong. I don't think it makes them look strong. Because they didn't... Because you got to keep in mind, they didn't debate me on a single point. The thing that I was the most shocked on, and I think even Myron was shocked on it, was I feel like I brought up the divorce thing. The divorce favors men. I feel like both of them were like, what? And then when I ran down my points, they had nothing to say. Other than like the suicide number. And then even Myron was like, whoa, hold on a sec. Are you sure you guys don't want to say anything? And they totally dropped that point. Which is funny, because I feel like this whole like women being evil and divorce shit is something that the red pillars fight on so hard. Yeah, Jesus. Donovan Sharp couldn't finish a debate with Rollo because of all the studies you guys were bringing up.
Give any cues externally about the status of their fertility is to just stay with one and have sex over long periods of time.
But there are still studies that show that women act differently when they are.
Thank you! Studies that show that women have different preferences sometimes when
they
are on different parts. Yes, but it's whether or not they act on those. And this is the importance of measuring extra partner pairings, is that you can ask...
This is all right. Now we're at the point of diminishing returns here. It's just not, that's it. We're at the point of diminishing returns, man. Like, the EPP... No, dude. No, man. No, dude. No. Attraction and arousal, guys, it's not that complicated. It's really not.
It's super complicated. Humans are super complicated creatures. We are insanely complicated creatures. We are arguably one of the most complicated creatures on the planet. How can you say that something like our reproduction is very simple? That's not true. It's a pretty complicated dance we do between features and how we act on things and like age and hormones and status of life and like there's yeah. But is this the dude that had Debatacron? Yeah, basically. Real quick, so let's see if I can summarize this in 1 minute. So one of the big claims by a lot of these red pill guys, and they stem from Rollo, is this idea that when women are more fertile on their cycle, they will fuck an alpha guy for good genes, and then when women are in less fertile places of their cycle, they will fuck a safe guy just to keep him close by. So they're trying to get the genes from the powerful alpha male, and then they're trying to stay safe with the beta male, okay? And then true alpha males in societies, men's reproductive strategy is to fuck as many women as possible to spread their alpha genes as quickly as possible, okay? This is the dual mating strategy, right? That's the dual mating strategy in a nutshell. The problem with this is that there hasn't been any research ever to show that women actually pick different partners at different parts of their fertility, and there is no evidence that this reproductive strategy has been practiced anywhere, because women are not having all these children out of their normal relationships and then having their beta men raise them. There's zero data for any of this, and a lot of the researchers that were initially behind this dual mating hypothesis, I think David Buss is one, Stephen Gangstad is another, is what they said was, well, actually, when you look at this more, the dual mating strategy, the dual mating strategy doesn't really make sense for a few reasons. One, a big one, is that human females don't give off cues when they're fertile, right? There's a 10 to 50% bastard rate, I think there's research on. No. Extra partner pairings is like 1%, literally. And I know because they did a lot of research on this. There's one French fucking dude. I literally have a study called Cuckolded Fathers, Rare in Human Populations. This Larmousseau guy, I don't think, he has done a few on these. The highest they could find is 5.9% in really fucked communities. But worldwide, it's about 1%. But the issue is that human females don't give off external cues when they're ready to mate, right? You know how like there are some animals like cats, maybe dogs, where when they're like in heat, they're walking around like fuck me, you know, like you can tell. If you were an alpha male and you wanted to swoop in and you wanted to impregnate dogs or cats or whatever at like their optimal fertile time, you could do it. Like you go in, you see they're in heat, you fuck them, and then you leave, right? But with adult human females, that doesn't happen. Those reproductive cues aren't given off. So because that's the case, if you're an alpha and you're just trying to spread your seed, fucking somebody one time doesn't even guarantee you that it's a good reproductive strategy. You might not hit it at the right time, right? So it seems like, and because women are horny throughout their entire cycle, not just when they're fertile, the only way to guarantee fertilization is probably by fucking somebody for an extended period of time. So if you're a guy, your reproductive strategy has to be fucking somebody for an extended period of time. If you're a woman, because you're masking your, and it probably even makes sense if you think about it, a woman doesn't want to give off fertility cues because their offspring is such high investment, right? It takes a long time to raise a human child. So if somebody comes by, fucks you, and leaves, and they've gotten you pregnant, and then they're able to bounce, that's probably really bad for you. So the only way, so for women, it makes sense why they'd want to conceal when they're the most fertile, because they don't want an alpha guy to come in, fuck them, and leave. So they need somebody that's going to be caring, non-dominant, and invest high in the offspring. So it makes sense that like non-dominant guys would be the preferred reproductive strategy for men. Like this is essentially what like all the research settled on, because they couldn't, because the problem was, even though women will have slight differences in what they prefer during their ovulation cycle, the actions that they do during these cycles don't seem to match with the dual mating hypothesis at all. Like, yeah.
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.